What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Sunday, everybody. It's your girl, Mel, your favorite astrologer here at Divine Feminine Works. And as always, I hope that this video or this live finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell, so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. And speaking of content, head over to Instagram and hit that follow button. I've got loads of excellent daily content. Plus, I go live over there every Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for live readings by sign. All right, so head over there, hit that follow button so you don't miss any of that great stuff. All right, so after a little hiatus, I am back. I had a whole bunch of technical difficulties last week. And to be honest, I was processing a lot of stuff. And so I wouldn't have been of much value to you at that time. All right. So hello, Patricia. How are you? So I decided to take a little week off, recalibrate, and now I am back and in full effect. All right. So let's let the good people over at Twitter know that we are live. All right. So how are you guys doing? I know last week we had that super full moon in Sagittarius, which I know hit me pretty hard. So let me know in the comments how that super full moon affected you guys. All right. So thankfully, this week is a bit of a slower week, which is always appreciated, right? But we do have something major. We do have a new season coming up. So we're going to be feeling some energy shifts. We're going to be feeling some new energy. It's the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the official start of summer. So we have that to look forward to. And it's a kind of an optimistic kind of week. All right. At least that's how we start. But before I get into all of that, I just wanted to chit chat with you guys for a little bit about something, right? So I was preparing to do this live, and I was thinking about, all the things I wanted to say this week, and with everything going on, I wanted to talk about astrology in general, right? Because it's interesting, different, people's feedback when it comes to astrology and how they view it, right? Because a lot of people find it very interesting, right? If you're thumbing through Instagram, for instance, and you see all of this astrology content, it's usually pretty humorous. You usually relate to it on some level because it's talking about your sun sign, but astrology is so much more than that, right? And so one of my, part of my purpose, right, and one of my endeavors in, doing this stuff and putting out content in just my company, Divine Feminine Works in general, is to help you unlock your divinity and discover your magic. And in doing so, helping you live your best life. And one of the arsenals in my toolbox when it comes to living your best life is astrology. And it can be a bit overwhelming, right? Because there's a lot to learn about astrology. I know when I first learned about, the fact that I had a rising sign and a moon sign, that blew my mind, right? And that took me down a rabbit hole of learning so much more, okay? But learning astrology is one thing, but applying it to your life is another. And being able to use astrology on a daily basis and being able to use astrology in a way that benefits your life is so valuable, right? And I sometimes think that people sort of downplay that. Yes, it's very interesting to know about your sun sign and to a certain extent to know, what it means when the moon is waxing or waning or when it's in a particular sign. But knowing how to sort of craft your life in a way that's beneficial to you and that works in flow with the universe is invaluable. And that's one of the best ways to use astrology. And that's one of the ways that I use astrology personally. And it's not just about understanding yourself, right? Because your natal chart is the blueprint to your life, right? And it can tell you so much about yourself, about your life purpose, about the people in your life, about your job. It can even tell you about your past life and perhaps where you're going in the future. There's so much you can learn just from your natal chart. But there's so many other different charts and different concepts in astrology that can help you. For instance, there's a whole sector of astrology that basically can show you when to do things. When would be the optimal time to get married? When would be the optimal time to conceive a child? When would be the optimal time to launch a business? There's a whole sector of astrology related to that, right? There's also the psychology of astrology. Modern astrology is really based around the psychology of the self. And so you can gain some really valuable insight, especially in terms of doing shadow work, especially in terms of understanding why you do things. There's a whole sector of astrology for that too. There's a whole sector of astrology that just deals with relationships. So you can understand how you and your partner not only vibe well, but you can also understand the trajectory of your relationship. There's I say all of this to say that there's so much to learn about astrology. And my personal mission is to help you understand that, and not just understand and teach you what it means, but also help you implement it in your daily life so you can live your best life. So I want you guys to stay tuned, because in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be releasing a lot of new things, a lot of new content, a lot of new products and services geared exactly towards helping you live your best life. All right. And again, astrology is one of the major tools in my arsenal to do so. So I also say that to say that, for those that actually watch this weekly astro forecast, it's not just about finding out what the week is going to look like or what it's going to feel like, but really taking this information in and understanding how you can sort of tweak your week. I like that, tweak your week, in order to make it be as good as possible, or in order to avoid pitfalls, or in order to be as productive or as social as you would like. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the description box below, which not only gives you a rundown of the week, much like this weekly astro forecast, but it also gives you the horoscope for the week based on your rising sign. So you can really understand what the week looks and feels like for you, and then how you can take that information and sort of move forward with it. All right. So again, if you want to sign up for my newsletter, the link is in the description box below. All right. So I just want to put that shameless plug in, because again, I've got a lot of great stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I definitely don't want you guys to miss it. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the week and see what we are looking at. All right. So again, this week isn't too heavy, but we do have a season change, which is always a great thing. And again, in the Northern Hemisphere, we are at the start of summer. So, it's about to be a really nice summer, hopefully. All right. So on Monday, we have Mercury in its home sign of Gemini, sextile to Jupiter in Aries. On Tuesday, we have the summer solstice as the sun moves into Cancer. The moon is going to move into Aries, and we've got Venus trine Pluto. On Wednesday, we have Venus moving into Gemini. And then on Thursday, we have the moon in Taurus. And finally, we close out the week on Saturday with the moon in Gemini. All right. So let's talk about some of the highlights for this week. I mean, I already pretty much talked about the summer solstice and summer beginning. That's the beginning of Cancer season happening on Tuesday. And the summer solstice just marks the longest day of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. That's when we have the most hours of sunlight. It's the longest day. It's when we are closest to the sun. That's why it's so hot. And it's really just a time about being out in the sun. Spiritually speaking, the summer solstice and summer in general is all about sort of expressing yourself. It's sort of coming out of your shell and expressing yourself and sort of living out loud. Okay. And so that begins on Tuesday. This week, we also have two planets changing signs. So with the sun going into Cancer, that is going to be a sign change. And then Venus is going to be moving into Gemini on Wednesday. So that means that this week we have two planets which are going to be at the anaretic degree. And if you haven't watched any of my other lives before, the anaretic degree is when a planet is at the 29th degree of a particular sign. Okay. And the 29th degree is the critical degree. It's like when the energy of that planet reaches a fever pitch, right? So if we're talking about a planet like the sun at 29 degrees is like the most sun it's going to be. The energy of the sun that is characterized by energizing, right? The sun energizes. It gives vitality to things. It also illuminates things, right? It's sort of the truth bearer in a sense, right? So when a planet is at 29 degrees, that's when it's most potent, right? So this week, we're going to have the sun at the 29th degree of Gemini on Monday. And then we're going to have Venus at the 29th degree of Taurus on Tuesday. Now, it's important, especially with Venus, because Venus is at home in Taurus. So Taurus is one of its home signs. So at the 29th degree, Venus is going to be extremely potent. It's going to be extremely powerful on Tuesday or Wednesday. So don't be surprised if Tuesday into Wednesday. So don't be surprised if relationship or money matters or even creativity matters sort of reach a fever pitch or become very illuminated or very prominent between Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. Especially depending on where Venus is in your chart. You might find that money matters come into heavy focus or intensify. You may be struck with creativity. A relationship may come into your purview in a very intense way. All right. Same thing with the sun. With the sun reaching the anaretic degree, that 29th degree of Gemini on Monday, the sun, wherever Gemini is in your chart, that's where you're going to have an intense focus. So that's where your consciousness is going to be focused. That's also where things are going to be heavily illuminated. Okay. So you're going to want to pay attention to what really pops up between Monday and Tuesday. That's going to let you know what sort of energies are at play for you this week in a major way. All right. And then finally, we have the moon. So every week, the moon is the fastest moving planet in our solar system, right? The moon makes its orbit around the zodiac in roughly 28 days, okay? So every week, the moon is in 3 or at least 4 signs, okay? And so this week, the moon is in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, right? And so we had the full moon in Sagittarius last week, right? Or it's probably like a week and a half now. But we're making our way to the new moon in Cancer, which is happening on the 28th. So this week, the moon is in the waning gibbous and the waxing, it's in the waning gibbous and the waxing and the waning crescent phase. Sorry. It takes a lot sometimes to do these and I get a little confused. Yes. So the moon is moving from the waning gibbous to the waning crescent phase, meaning that it is decreasing in light and the moon is decreasing in size. As you know, when we get to the new moon, the moon is completely dark. So between the full moon and the moon is in the waning phase. And so it decreases in illumination. And spiritually speaking, when the moon is in the waning phase, that is when we release things. That's when we banish things that we no longer need. It's sort of like cleanup time and making room for new intentions and new seeds to be planted at the new moon. Okay. And so this week, we're going to be experiencing some of that banishing energy and some of that clearing energy with the moon. And with the moon in Aries through Gemini, this clearing is going to be happening on a very personal level. So as opposed to if the moon were in a sign like Libra, right? Or even Sagittarius or Capricorn, when the moon is in those planets, it's more about our relationship with others and how we relate to the world around us. But when we're talking about signs like Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, these are very personal signs. So this clearing out is happening on a very personal and individualistic level. Okay. But I'll get into that more as we move in through the week. Okay. But that's pretty much what we're looking at this week. Again, nothing too heavy, but again, that sun moving into Cancer is a pretty big deal. All right. So as always, my shameless plug again, if you're new to astrology or if you've started studying astrology and you just need to get the fundamentals down, I've created something called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which is basically the quick and dirty on the 4 fundamentals of astrology that you need to know in order to start studying and start examining your natal chart. And the 4 foundational points of astrology are the planets, the houses, the signs, and the aspects. And like I said, this 11-page PDF document just gives you the quick and dirty on all of this stuff. So you kind of get it down pat and you can start moving on to more advanced lessons. All right. I think it's great. I've gotten such great reception from it. People seem to love it, especially people who are new to astrology. So if it's something that you're interested in, the link will be in the description box below. Check it out. It's completely free. Download it and start learning astrology. All right. So let's get into the week. So on Monday, we start off with Mercury in Gemini sextile Jupiter in Aries. Okay. And you'll see Mercury at the very bottom of the screen at 6 degrees Gemini, the little purple guy. And then if you look towards the left, the gray number 4 is at 6 degrees. That's the glyph for Jupiter, by the way. Jupiter is at 6 degrees Aries. All right. So essentially, this is a really great way to start the week. And it's also a very positive transit. Okay. So Jupiter in Aries is all about taking action, right? Taking big action to start something. It's very initiating, okay? And the phrase that I assign to Jupiter in Aries is like fortune favors the bold. If you're looking for abundance, you sort of have to go out there and get it, right? And with a sextile to Mercury, this allows us to sort of think of a master plan and then act on it immediately, right? And receive immediate results. That's the best part about Jupiter in Aries, is that it's quick abundance, right? May not be long lasting. Keep that in mind, but it can be very quick. And again, with Mercury in its home sign of Gemini and it's direct, that Mercury energy is really Mercury-ing right now, okay? So this is a great time to make decisions. This is a great time to plan for the future. It's also going to give you a sense of optimism and hope. So a lot of us are going to be thinking more positively, more optimistic about the future. So it's a great day to really look ahead, think about what you want to have, and then go after it, right? Because Aries energy is all about action. And with Jupiter being the planet of good luck, good fortune, and abundance, it's like if you take that first step, if you take that leap out on faith, then you're going to able to receive your abundance again relatively quickly. And with Mercury in the mix, it's like you think of a master plan, you act on it, and boom, you get what you want. Okay, so it's a great day for manifesting too, if I might add. It's also a great day for like debating, negotiating, especially if you're negotiating something big like a house or a car or something like that. You can definitely negotiate a better deal. Signing business contracts is favored, particularly with Mercury in its home sign. Anything business related is really going to thrive on Monday. So Monday is a great day to get productive. It's a great day to get work done. It's just an overall great day to feel positive, to think positively, and to plan for the future. And speaking of planning, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, right? And Sagittarius is known for wanderlust, right? You're definitely, if you're looking to plan a trip, I would do so on Monday, because not only will you be thinking positively, but you'll be in a good mood. And the astrology favors a long distance trip, perhaps someplace you've never been before. But even if it's just a short distance trip, like a weekend trip or something, Monday is also a really good time to do that. So consider that, right? But it's really about embarking on an adventure. So you're going to want to plan a trip to someplace you've never been, a place that you want to experience something new, something that deviates from everything that you're used to, right? If, let's say you want to go to some place like Bali or Bora Bora or the Maldives, right? Monday would be a great day to start planning this trip, okay? So again, we start the week off pretty well with this sextile, okay? So next up, we've got Tuesday. So on Tuesday, this is sort of the star day of the week, right? Because we have the sun moving into Cancer, and you'll see that at the bottom of the screen, the brown circle with a dot in it, that is at 0 degrees Cancer. We also have Venus in Taurus at 28 degrees, which is trine to Pluto in Capricorn at 28 degrees as well. And then we have the moon moving into Aries, okay? So Tuesday is a pretty busy day, but a lot of pretty good energy. So let's talk about it. All right. So first, we've got the sun moving into Cancer. All right. So this obviously sparks the beginning of summer. It is, the longest day of the year. So summer solstice, all that good stuff. Right. But what always confuses me, or not confuses me, but seems a little counterintuitive, is that the start of summer is marked by the sun moving into the most like insular signs, right? When you think of Cancer is it's symbolized by the crab, right? And so Cancer energy is very protective. It's very like concerned with home and family, sort of keeping things close to your chest. It's very self-protective. It's sort of inward looking, right? And then I always found that to be a paradox, because I'm like, summer is all about being outside and socializing and all that good stuff. But the season is marked by Cancer, which is very insular. It's very self-protective, right? But during Cancer season, our attention turns to family. It turns into home. Anything that makes us feel at home and makes us feel comfortable is what Cancer is all about. All right. It's also about nurturing. Like Cancer is one of those signs that is nurturing, that's caring. Cancer is very much associated with like mothering nature, right? And so you may find that wherever Cancer is in your chart, once the sun moves into Cancer, the theme of that house becomes a theme in your life where you start nurturing things, where you start taking care of things. It's almost like watering a plant, right? And being a water sign, Cancer is indicative of the water in this example. It's nurturing the things that you love, nurturing the things that make you feel comfortable, nurturing the things that you want to see grow. So for instance, if you've got Cancer as your 7th house in your natal chart, once the sun moves into your 7th house, it's your relationships, your commitments, and your obligations that you're going to want to nurture and take care of over the next month, right? Now, Cancer is also a bit of a temperamental sign, right? Because they tend to be very moody. Because Cancer is like the water, it's like the ocean. The ebb and flow of the ocean is very indicative of Cancer's mood swings and emotions, right? And so during Cancer season, all of us tend to be a little more sensitive emotionally. All of us tend to be a lot more susceptible to the ups and downs of the moon, right? So you may find that Cancer season makes you feel a bit testy, may make you feel cranky, moody, grumpy, because your emotions may be all over the place. And if you're a sign that's like heavily grounded, like if you have a lot of earth energy in your chart, you may find Cancer season to be a little too much for you, because one minute you're feeling great, the next minute you're feeling moody, like your emotions can be all over the map, right? So that's one thing to really pay attention to during Cancer season. Where are your emotions going and what are they telling you, right? Because emotions ultimately tell us a lot about what we're thinking, and it also tells us a lot about our intuition. And speaking of intuition, Cancer is a seriously intuitive sign, seriously intuitive, very psychic. So you may find that that part of yourself sort of comes online during Cancer season, or it's highlighted. Some of you may be experiencing these things for the first time. Some of you may really be honing in on your spiritual gifts. Cancer season is great for putting a focus on those things, right? And so that is the sun in Cancer for the most part. So that's what we have to look forward to over the next 28 days until the sun moves into the sign of Leo, okay? That same day, we have Venus in Taurus trine Pluto in Capricorn, right? And so anytime you have Pluto in the mix, you're automatically going to be feeling a lot of intensity. And with a trine to Venus, and Venus having to do with relationships and money, those areas are going to be heavily intensified during this transit on Tuesday, right? And it's almost like your need for companionship, your need for love on a substantive level is going to be very heightened, right? Anything that brings you satisfaction and joy is going to be intensified. Now, if you couple this with that Mercury sextile Jupiter transit on the day before, on Monday, this is what's going to give us this really optimistic feeling in the beginning of the week, right? So don't be surprised if you're feeling really good, if you're feeling optimistic, if you're really feeling the love, the joy, things that, creativity may also thrive as well. So it's a really great start to the week in terms of positive thinking and positive feeling, okay? It's a great time for being close to the people that you love, whether it's a partner, whether it's family, even whether it's friends, because everyone's going to be feeling things more deeply, especially when it comes to camaraderie, love, all of those things are going to be intensified. You're also going to feel this desire for more love and affection. So it's a great time for sex. It's a great time for intimacy. It's a great time for anything that makes you feel good on those type of levels. Okay. The one thing that Pluto a lot of times introduces is sort of this energy of karma, right? And not karma in the Saturn way, because Saturn rules karma, but Saturn rules like the consequences to actions, right? Pluto sort of deals with, especially when Pluto is coupled up with Venus in a positive trine like this, it's like about karmic relationships and feeling like a karmic pull. So this may be one of those transits, if you believe in soulmates or twin flames, you may see some activity on that front with that, right? But what's also interesting about Pluto is that Pluto is all about secrets and things that are taboo and mysterious, right? So you may find that, Venus trine Pluto is one of those great transits for affairs. It's one of those great transits for cheating, because just like the thrill and the mysteriousness of it is really going to be pulling at you, right? So if your current relationship is not that steady, if you find that you've been dealing with issues of fidelity and loyalty in your relationships, you're going to want to be careful with Venus trine Pluto, because that can bring out, affairs and things like that. But Venus is not all about just love and relationships. Venus also covers money. And with a positive transit to Pluto, this is a great time for your finances being in order, right? So this is a great time to go shopping, especially for luxury items. This is a great time to invest money, particularly in things having to do like art, things that are creative in nature. So works of art, things like that. Even things like jewelry, maybe not even investing, but like buying those kind of things, luxury items, jewelry, home decor. Tuesday is going to be a great day to do that. And remember, I said that Venus is going to be going into Gemini on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, it's reaching that anaretic degree. So again, if you feel that urge, particularly if Venus is in your second house, or even if Pluto is in your second house, your house of money and material possessions, if you feel that urge to buy something, splurge a little on yourself, do it, right? Because Venus is really going to make you feel that pull. Venus is really going to make you feel that urge and that desire to really spend some money and like splurge on yourself, right? Okay. Pluto is also about getting to the heart of things, getting to the truth of things. And if we're talking about Venus and money, this is all about sort of researching wealth creation, researching investment opportunities. With Jupiter in Aries, it may be a good time to not only invest, but also sort of dip your toe in as well. I think that Jupiter in Aries, again, coupled with Mercury sextile to Jupiter, sort of everything I talked about that's going down on Monday, I feel like if you think about it, you allow the energy of Venus trine Pluto to help you research and really get to the bottom of things. I think like you can research something and then sort of jump into it, right? Because again, Jupiter in Aries is fortune favors the bold. It's taking action, quick action that yields immediate results, okay? Especially with the moon being in Aries on Tuesday, right? So let's talk about that. So the moon is in Aries, and it's a strong desire to start fresh, okay? Again, because we're in the waning phase of the moon, this is going to be when we get rid of things that no longer serve us, right? So this is going to be perhaps getting rid of bad habits that are preventing you from having the things you want. So let me give you the example, sort of what I was talking about before with money, right? So Mercury sextile Jupiter is going to allow you to think of a master plan and then act on it, right? Venus trine Pluto is going to allow you to research wealth creation. And Moon in Aries is going to make you feel like sort of getting rid of those bad habits that stop you from being wealthy, that are preventing you from being abundant, right? All of those things together really can set the stage for thinking of a master plan that comes to making money, getting rid of bad habits that are preventing you from, securing the bag, and then taking action on those and getting immediate results. Okay. So even in terms of relationships, because Venus also covers relationships, this could sort of be understanding yourself in a relationship, understanding where your partner is coming in a relationship, right? Or even if you're single, sort of understanding yourself and your own psychology when it comes to relationships, eradicating any bad habits when it comes to relationships, or things that may prevent you from having a good relationship. Maybe it's a self-esteem issue. Maybe it's a self-worth issue. Maybe it's a codependency issue, sort of getting rid of that and then taking action. So it may be going out on a date. It may be signing up for an online dating service, right? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So in the beginning of the week, it's going to behoove you to sort of research either, wealth creation or relationships or yourself. Think of a master plan, take action, and then be prepared to receive some sort of quick results. Okay. That's sort of the flavor of the beginning of the week. Okay. Now, going back to the moon in Aries, right? We have a strong desire to start fresh. So this is sort of spring cleaning, perhaps emotions, perhaps even your physical space in order to make room to manifest new things, right? It's about being instinctual. I think that's one of the most important things about Moon in Aries is that you feel something, you have an impulse, and you sort of just act on it. Okay. So again, if you know that, I'll give you another perfect example. Let's say you're trying to lose weight, right? And with the waning gibbous moon in Aries, right? I want you to remember the waning is when the moon is decreasing. It's when we banish and get rid of things, right? So let's say your goal is to lose weight. Moon in Aries, like you may wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm going to remove all of the junk food in the house. And you do it right then and there, right? That's sort of that impulsive, instinctual kind of energy that moon in Aries in the waning phase would sort of give us and bring to us and allow us to use, right? So it's about feeling energetic. It's about being enthusiastic. It's about being goal oriented and taking those first few steps in order to reach that goal. Okay. And again, it's being tactless, it's being impulsive, and it's quick actions that yield immediate results. So the beginning of the week is going to be very action oriented, right? It's going to be thinking of something, feeling the impulse to do it, trying to understand why you want to do it, and then doing it. Okay. So that's pretty much what Tuesday is looking like. And again, that's sort of the star day of the week. All right. So next up, we get to Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we have Venus moving into Gemini. And towards the right hand of your screen, you'll see the green or teal Venus sign at 0 degrees Gemini. All right. So Venus is moving out of its home sign. Venus in Taurus is very much concerned with beauty, with looks. It's a bit superficial, but it's very grounded and very stubborn, right? With Venus moving into Gemini, it's like when it comes to things like money, when it comes to things to romance, it's like Venus is sort of on overdrive. I'm sure if you know any Geminis, you'll know that they think fast, they talk fast, they multitask, they're social butterflies. And with Venus in that sign, that's exactly how we're going to be, particularly on the social level, right? So Gemini is known for curiosity, right? And I feel like when it comes to any planet in Gemini, our curiosity becomes piqued. And it's sort of what motivates us to move forward. So with Venus in Gemini, in terms of romance, in terms of money, we become very curious and we allow ourselves kind of to go down the rabbit hole and experience different things, okay? One of the main phrases of this transit would be variety is the spice of life. And when that comes to romance, that can be, depending on how you look at it, that can be either really good or not so good. Really good if you're single and you're sort of ready to mingle and you're out there. You can sort of engage with people, a lot of different people, right? When Venus is in Gemini. The thing with that is that Venus in Gemini doesn't necessarily lend itself to commitment. It's really more superficial. It's really more just testing the water. It's really more on a friendship vibe, right? It's not about commitment. It's not about longevity. It's sort of just satisfying that curiosity. And then once that curiosity is satisfied, just moving on, right? But it can be fun because again, it gets you to experience a lot of different people. It gets you to talk to a lot of different people, be more social, etc. But if you're looking for commitment, Venus in Gemini is definitely not sort of the transit you would want to begin a relationship under, especially if you're looking for something serious. Like I said before in my little spiel, like with astrology, you can elect different times to do things, right? And so if you're looking to get married, Venus in Gemini is not necessarily the best placement for Venus if you're looking to get married. So for the next couple of weeks, marriage is not to say that your marriage is doomed, but it's going to have more of like a light-hearted friendship vibe, which could be your thing, right? It really depends on you, rather than a serious commitment vibe, all right? But one of the nice things about Venus in Gemini is that it's all about intellectual stimulation. So relationships and our curiosity with relationships is really motivated by this desire to be mentally stimulated. Words carry a lot of weight, and words, we find them a lot more sexy during, when Venus is in Gemini, okay? And we bond more on words. Now, words as opposed to actions can be a little problematic, right? Because someone can be, spewing sweet nothings at you, but their actions say otherwise, right? So it's one of those things to be mindful of when Venus is in Gemini. And speaking of which, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is known as the trickster. So this kind of plays into what I was just saying. Words can say a lot, but if there's no action behind it, they can sort of be null and void. Okay. And so you're going to want to keep this in mind, especially if you're dating or even if you're transacting business, right? Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is sort of the business. That's the sign that you look towards in business, right? So people may be saying what you want to hear, but their actions may not be matching up with that. Okay. So you're going to want to be very mindful of that while Venus is in Gemini. Venus in Gemini is also very communicative. It's also very flirty. Again, it's that friendly, fun vibe, right? Which there's nothing wrong with, especially now that at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's now summer, right? So this is sort of the vibe you may want to be on if you're just looking to have a good time. But again, if you're looking for a lot more than that, Venus in Gemini may disappoint you on that front, okay? It's also very fickle. Right? What may be good one day, Venus in Gemini is very fickle. That's what I meant to say. What may be good one day may not be good the next, or it's a lot of inconsistency. Okay. So again, keep that in mind depending on what your objectives are. Okay. It's a great time to do research when it comes to money. It's a great time to sort of think of things from a more objective standpoint when we're talking about creativity. Venus in Taurus is very creative in a grounded sort of way, right? But Venus in Gemini is also creative, but in a very cerebral and intellectual sort of way. So this is like a great transit for someone if if your career involves any creative endeavor, right? Let's say you're a musician or you're a dancer or you're a playwright. It can allow you to sort of not be so subjectively involved in your work, but sort of take a step back and look at things from a business perspective and from a more objective perspective. So that's sort of another way that you would be able to use Venus in Gemini to your advantage. All right. But yeah, Venus is going to be in Gemini for the next couple of weeks. So that's something to look forward to. But again, based on everything I just said, so the moon is exalted in Taurus, meaning that it's treated like a queen. So the energy of the moon when it's in Taurus is extremely positive and it's extremely potent. Okay. So moon in Taurus is one of those transits where it's all about comfort. Okay. Now this can be a little jarring because, like I said, we're in the waning phase of the moon. The waning phase is all about cleanup and it's all about getting rid of what no longer serves us. But when the moon is in Taurus, we're sort of not inclined to do any of that because we just want to be in our comfort zone. We're hard pressed to let things go because those things may be our security blanket or it may be things that we're accustomed to, right? So moon in Taurus is great for the waxing phase of the moon when we're building because it allows us to hold on to things. But in the waning moon, it can be a little cumbersome because it doesn't really allow us to release the things that we really want to because we sort of get stuck and we're stuck in our ways and very stubborn with respect to what we know and what we feel. But regardless, when the moon is in Taurus, it's all about comfort and security. Like I always think of moon in Taurus is like, it's Netflix and chill in your favorite sweats, eating a bowl of ice cream. Like it's just about very much being comfortable, being at home. It's all about peace and security too. Like anything that rocks your peace, anything that disturbs your peace, you're just like not trying to have any parts of it. Okay. It's also one of those moons that can typically be characterized as lazy, right? You kind of just want to sleep. You kind of just want to lay around and not do much. And that is perfectly fine. You don't have to be, going all the time. Like moon in Taurus is definitely one of those moons where you want to rest, where you want to take it easy, right? And you feel like doing a lot less, which again is not a bad thing. Moon in Taurus lends itself to taking action that can, that's slow and steady. So as opposed to the moon in Aries, which is all about taking quick action that gets quick results, moon in Taurus is really about taking slower action, but things that are substantive that can grow over time. It's sort of taking action that builds the foundation that will later, house other things. Okay. It's also about money. Taurus can be very materialistic. So it's all about our physical possessions, money. So it's about anything that has to do with financial activities or personal possessions. Those are usually great activities to do when the moon is in Taurus. Beginning a potentially long-term relationship, like I said, anything involving Taurus is slow and steady. So anything that you want to see grow over time, starting that action while the moon is in Taurus is always a good thing, okay? But again, this is sort of counter to the moon being waning because we're trying to banish things when the moon is waning. So you may find it difficult to let go of personal possessions. Maybe you need to clear your space. When the moon is in Taurus, the last thing you're going to feel like doing is cleaning or getting rid of things, particularly things that you've had for a long time. So again, the moon this week when it's in Taurus can be a bit frustrating, particularly if you're trying to make progress, right? Because you may feel like you are stuck in your ways, okay? So forewarned is forearmed, I should say. All right. So that is Thursday. And then finally on Saturday, we have the moon moving into the sign of Gemini, okay? And if you look towards the right hand of your screen, you'll see the brown moon at 0 degrees Gemini, okay? So we're still in the waning phase and now we're in the waning crescent phase, okay? So the moon is in Gemini, which is the sign right before Cancer, and we're having the new moon in Cancer on the 28th. So this is sort of the last little slivers of illumination from the moon that we're going to be seeing towards the end of next week. All right. And so this is the time when it's like it almost hits a fever pitch, right? When the moon is in the waning crescent phase, we are very adamant about getting rid of things, removing what no longer serves us. And sometimes this is sort of not even done deliberately by us. I think a lot of times the universe sort of diminishes things in our life or gets rid of things in our life in order to make room. Okay. And so when the moon is in Gemini, just generally, right? We are motivated by curiosity. We're motivated by a desire to learn and a desire to communicate with other people. It's very much, again, just like I talked about with Venus in Gemini, it's this sort of multitasking, very all over the place kind of energy. And so when the moon is in Gemini, a lot of times our emotions can be all over the place as well. Moon in Gemini is like, it's feeling many different emotions, but not on a deep level at all. It's not about being introspective. It's sort of like observing your emotions and then just letting them go. But you may be feeling a lot of different things at the same time. It's very lighthearted. It's very breezy. It's very Gemini-ish, right? But it can also be very restless and fickle, okay? So you may find that you're feeling generally restless, feeling like you want to do something, but not exactly knowing what that thing is, So it's okay to be led by your curiosity because that may satisfy that restlessness that you're feeling, okay? So anything involving like communication, thinking, planning is great to do when the moon is in Gemini. You may find that it's also a busier time generally. Since Gemini is ruled by Mercury and Mercury is all about communication, you may find that your communications ramp up. So text messages, emails, phone calls, all of that stuff may ramp up when the moon is in Gemini, which may also have you feeling maybe why you may feel like you're being pulled in different directions or your emotions are all over the place, because that's sort of the energy with the moon in Gemini, right? Making connections is also a big thing when the moon is in Gemini, right? So this is sort of enlisting the help of other people to sort of help you get rid of what you no longer need, okay? This may also be you recognizing and thinking about the things that you no longer need and taking action steps towards removing those things out of your life, especially with the moon, on Saturday being in Gemini and we're getting so close to the new moon. Again, it's like that fever pitch energy where you're just like, I need to make room instinctively, right, for things that we want to plant at the new moon next week. Okay. So this is about making connections with people, could be about taking short trips, learning something new. But regardless, when the moon is in Gemini, we're very much motivated by our curiosity and our desire to learn and talk to other people. And that's pretty much how we end the week. So we start the week on a very positive note. Much can be accomplished accomplished. So my advice to you is whatever needs to get done, do it Monday or Tuesday, because I feel like the astrology is really going to support any actions that you take. And you're going to want to take a look at your natal chart to see where all of this is going down in your natal chart. If you've never pulled your natal chart before, you can go to a site like astroseek.com. I'll put the link in the description box below. All you'll need is your birth date, time, and location. Put those in and it'll generate your natal chart. That way you could see, if I said Mercury is in Gemini, look to see where Gemini is in your chart and see what area is going to be highlighted when Mercury sextiles Jupiter. Okay, when Mercury is in Gemini. If you need help or if you would like a natal chart report where I give you a full in-depth report on your natal chart, what it means, everything that's pertinent that you need to know about it, the link will be in the description box below. I get rave reviews on these reports because they're really comprehensive and I find that people really get some important insight. So again, the link for the natal chart report will be in the description box below. All right. So with that concludes this week's weekly astro forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least some important information that can help you move forward this week. Thank you again for tuning in. I know it's a Sunday afternoon. You guys could be doing anything, but the fact that you're rocking with me means so much to me, and I cannot thank you enough. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Take care.